Yeah, we are back and we are live. It's the OGPT pod, y'all. How you feeling? I hope you are doing great. I hope you are blessed. I hope you are getting richer by the day. I hope if your back hurts, it doesn't hurt too bad. And I hope your dinner is delicious. Ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, as you know, this is the interview show where we bring people on that if you don't know them and you're not following them, you need to be. And if you are following them, hopefully you enjoy this and we break down a little bit of maybe questions you would ask them. Feel free to drop that in the chat. So without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, coming to the stage, I am honored to call this man a friend of mine. I am thankful that he's in my life. He is everything you want to be. He's involved in his community. He's a great father. He's a small business owner. He stands up for what's right, and he goes the extra mile and invests his own personal time, effort, and resources into trying to make his community and his country a better place. That is a true patriot, and this true patriot is here with me tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Mr. Mike Caldarise. Yeah.
Wow, buddy. Wow, buddy. That I don't know if I'm worthy of that entrance. I kind of feel like, have you ever seen the movie with Heath Ledger when it's The Knight's Tale? Have you ever seen that movie?
Yeah, I love
and he
that
has that
movie.
guy, and he's like, he's a knight sired by knights. Like, that's what I felt like you were doing to me. But bro, it is absolutely my pleasure. It is well to call you a friend, man. Just getting to know you over the last couple of months and seeing what you're doing. I'm, fully supportive. Love being here, and thank you for having me. 100%. Thank you for having me.
I love it. And I got to dive right in because I'm looking at your background, right? And
Let's
I'm
go.
used to seeing different backgrounds. You got some new things you're doing. You've got some new projects you're working on, kind of going in a new direction with media, marketing, that kind of stuff. Tell us about it, man. What is that logo? What is Caltrop? Talk to us, man.
Let me just start by saying this. If you're everybody out there, I would love to tell you, and you've heard me speak about this a little bit before. I'd love to tell you exactly what happened, but I had a couple officers hand me a sheet of paper that tells me that I have to restrain from what I'm saying. If you understand what I'm talking about there, Mike. So it's sad. So the show that we did, Two Mics Live, has ended. It's no joke. There's people out there that aren't talking about it, but I will tell you about it because it was a year and a half of my life that meant a lot to me. Now, at no point am I going to mention the people that I did the show with, but when it came to that show, I had a certain vision for that show, Mike, and the vision was really to bring two different people together that were very similar in thought, and to also have a situation where we had a different person altogether, like bringing in another total different voice who wasn't really into politics. And I thought the mix would work really, really well. And I was right. I mean, we worked really hard on it. I mean, let me just say to Eyes, I worked really hard on that show. And I know everybody else did. We put in a lot of time and effort. I put in a lot of time and effort. And it abruptly came to an end, sadly. So I've been forced to really come to a total loss with everything. And through a total loss, there's obviously the rebirth of like the Phoenix, because, I didn't start this to do one show. I started this so I can make a difference. I started this so I could have a media platform and to where I could gain people like you and like-minded people that wanted to come together, that wanted to stop being ran over, because individually you get ran over as a person. I see it nonstop. But collectively, you see the groups, certain religious groups, they stay together, and the more solid they are as a group, the more of a force you're going to be. You get recognized as a group. You don't get recognized as individuals, sadly, right? So my idea through this entire thing was to really bring people the truth, to parse through the garbage of what's been going on, and to really build a family here, And I think what I did over the last year and a half, you're seeing the results of it now, even with the nasty breakup, the amount of people that have supported me, that are still going to support me. It's going to be awesome. So the new show, yeah, man, I have a new media company called everything's not set in stone. And I'm a little worried about that being taken from me as well, and just backhanded things going on with that. But I'm not going to release the media company's name as of yet. I've dropped it a little bit to friends, but the new show's name is called the Caltrop. And
Yeah.
the caltrop is something that I want everybody to look up because it's an area defense weapon. And listen, man, I didn't think of this name. The Jarl from Bearded Viking Me. They run Vikings, Outlaws, and Cowboys. Is a great show. I was just on it.
Yeah. Shout out to Vikings, Outlaws, and Cowboys.
Dude, great bunch of dudes. Sorry for being long-winded here, Mike. But
No.
But no, so I was describing to him what I wanted. I wanted it, middle of the road where I'm hard on everybody, but it's fun. It's not just a political podcast. I want to have it multifaceted. I want the people from the left to come in and have real debates. Something I wanted to do on the last show and wasn't able to do. So there's a lot of things that I'm free now to do, and get back to what I started, because I started this with Caldarise Unleashed, and it was me and my neighbor, but it started with me. And I'm going to get back to what I started with the caltrop. And the caltrop, I will be your area defense weapon from fake bullshit. And the bottom line is you're being inundated with fake bullshit everywhere you look. No matter what it is, it's fake everywhere. And you're going to come to us to have fun. You're going to come to me to have fun, but to also get real accurate information and real thought. Because one of the things I don't want to be is just another parrot that's regurgitating the news to everybody else, like every other show out there. I want to have real thought. I want to have real discussion, and possibly show people that, we're not right and left. We're all kind of somewhere in the center. We're all way more similar than what we're led to believe. Sorry for being long-winded, buddy.
No. That's what we need, what we want, man. And just in case anyone is wondering what a caltrop is, that is a caltrop. It is a weapon. These are pictured from the Mongol Empire right there, and that is awesome.
And if you picture like Saving Private Ryan with those big pieces of metal that were on the beach, right? Those are a caltrop.
Yeah.
It is a steady, sturdy. However you drop it, it's going to be defensive, and it's a defensive on all sides. It's a defense against a lot of different things. And when he brought that name to me, I didn't know what it was, and I'm sure no one's going to know what it is. But good, look into it. And I think it's a great brand for me because I've always been the caltrop.
Heck yeah. Right there. How does that look?
There you go. That's a caltrop.
Bud.
Exactly.
Yeah,
now, some have spikes, some don't have spikes, right? But no matter how you drop it, that's the beauty of that type of weapon. You could just drop it, and it's going to be able to land in a way to where it's defensive.
Might be.
And my last name is obviously Caldarise, so people call me Cal. It works perfectly.
Yeah. Hey, and it might be a little to the left, might be a little to the right, might be straight down the center. But it's real, and it does its job no matter what. I love that. That's brilliant, man. That's brilliant. Shout out to that, man. One thing I want to get into, because the guy like you, and I love it because I ask you questions and we're off to the races, man. But one thing I want to ask, because you might go years and not get some questions that I know people that follow you would want to know, and that's why we're here. And one of those,
I'm an open book, bro.
Yeah, man. You said when your original vision, when you started all of this stuff, is to get the truth out there and to kind of build a family. Where do you think that motivation comes from? Because not every guy out there is like, hey man, I want to get involved local and nationally in politics and build a group of like-minded folks, to have that desire and then to act on it and to build what you've built. Where do you think that came from, man? Where do you think that motivation came from?
So I don't know. So there's no motivation to speak truth to me. It's like maybe it's something that's just ingrained in my person. But I've always just been the type of person, like girlfriends used to get mad at me when I was 14, 15 years old, when they'd say, do I look good in this dress? And I'd say, no, it looks horrible on you. I was that guy, and they'd get mad at me, but I was telling them the truth. Listen, you're a beautiful girl. That makes you look chubby. Or does this look fat on me? Yeah, it fucking does. You look frumpy. Like I would say stuff like that. It was just who I was.
How'd that work out, man? How'd that work out?
Well, it was, it works out like everything else in my life, right? So I know there's going to be a group of people that love me, and there's going to be a group of people that hate me because of who I am.
No, that's awesome. We need more of that in this world, in my opinion. You know what I mean?
So that's what it was. So I've always been the person you see right here. If you really talk to anybody that has known me from 14 years old, 7 years old, whatever it was, I'm a much more calm person, and I'm a clearer thinker as far as like reacting to violence and stuff like that. But ultimately, I'm the exact same person. I haven't changed. This is who I am. I've always been this way. I've always spoke the truth. And moreover, like I've always loved to argue. And I love to argue everybody. So I love to argue the right with the left's talking points to see how good they were and to see how well the person knew what the fuck they were talking about. And I love doing the same thing to the left. I could argue all sides because I just love it. Things I did on Facebook and all. So people told me as far as like, starting a podcast or anything, people were telling me for years I needed to do a podcast for years. And I never listened to them. So I didn't know what a podcast was or anything. And then, so a buddy of mine said, hey, man, why don't you do this? There's an app called Anchor. And you could do it right over your phone. And I was like, okay, cool, let's do it. So I started the name Caldarise Unleashed. And I put a picture up that my son drew of a tiger. It's badass. I'll post it on my page, Mike Caldarise on Facebook or any of them, right? But so I get the app on my phone. I walk into my shed, all this stuff. I sit the phone up on my shelf, and I had to restart the show about 4 or 5 times. Nervous as hell, heartbeat. Nobody was listening to me. It wasn't live.
Yeah.
It was just talking into the phone. So, dude, finally I got past the first couple of minutes, and then I got going with it, and I did an hour and a half, something like that. I could just rip. And then the next show, and then the next show, and then my 5th show, I did a show called "Fuck Your Race." That seemed to be really good because it's something that I was on your show saying the same thing. I think.
Oh yeah, we did. What I love is that's so on brand. And how many years ago was that?
Oh, dude, what's this now? This is during COVID, 4 years ago, 5 years ago now.
And you are the same dude.
I'm
maybe a little wiser.
Bro,
mature, but the same dude, man.
If you want to hear the same guy without seeing me, you go to Spotify and go to Caldarise Unleashed, my last name, and just put in Unleashed, and you'll be able to hear 17 days worth of content, man. We have a lot of shows on Caldarise Unleashed. We did it for a while, but it was more of a hobby. It was a hobby, but it was, doing that. I learned how to develop a show. My neighbor, I love doing it with my neighbor. It was hysterical, but it got to the point where like we were too off the chain, too crazy. We did the origin of offensive words, and the first word was good. You know what I'm saying? Like fat, got, what I'm talking about? I don't know how crazy you want to get on your page.
Yes.
But yes. So we did the origin of offensive words, and we did a number of different words that would piss people off. So it wasn't something I thought we would be able to market nationwide. So I loved doing the show. And that's when Mike approached me because he came on my show. I shouldn't even bring him up, but he did. He came on my show and he did a great job for like 2.5 hours on his COVID research. And from there, we said, hey, you want to go ahead and be partners? So we did. And then we did, the 2 Mics Live. So, in the same concept went to 2 Mics Live. I didn't change who I was. The thing I did was I toned down a little bit of the language, so some of the bad language. I didn't get as crazy as I got on 2 Mics Live, but you got me at like a level 6, with all them. You know what I'm saying? You didn't get me level 10. You got me at like a level 6. I dialed it down because that was the type of show that I was trying to go for. But no, the motivation now, I think, is you build up an audience and you build up people, and you hear things like my buddy Jersey Abe, right? Jersey Abe.
Yeah.
Is going to be watching the show. And this is a man who is a great father. He's a great person who I've known forever. And the audience doesn't know him. Just know he's one of my listeners. But when he sends you the message of, yo, man, I've gone through a lot in my life, and I'm not going to list the things, but some of the things he went through were very heavy, right? And he says, and you have gotten me through it. You know what I'm talking about? He says, listening to you, there was so much horrible shit going on in my life, but I would listen to you and I would be laughing my ass off for an hour. I'd be laughing for an hour and a half. I'd have a smile on my face while this was going on. And when you see him follow you over to 2 Mics, and then you see, how much he embraced everybody that was there, and just like the family concept that it created itself. I didn't start off to do a family. The family created itself. And now it's kind of like a thing where these are people that I know I'm touching on a day-to-day basis, whether they're saying it or not. I'll see somebody random like, yo, dude, I love the show. I'm there every day. And I don't even know they're listening.
Yeah.
So it's that. And the fact that I'm a guy that truly does not give not one solitary fuck about what people think of me. Not one. So
hey, knowing you personally, I can co-sign. You are going to do you for better or worse, and you will take it. And this is what and here's the thing about it, man. And I'll let you go. I apologize.
Yeah, no, go talk.
here's the thing about you that people don't understand, and why the real ones give you the respect is because wrong or right, you will take your licks. You will come out and go, yeah, I said it, and yeah, it's offensive, and yeah, people are mad, and it's how I feel. You're not going to backtrack and go, I didn't mean to make people mad. What I really meant was, you're like, no, I say what I mean, and I mean what I say. And sometimes that lands me in hot water with some people. And you know what? I don't care.
And then you know what you could do? Go fuck yourself.
Yes.
I don't care. There's not, you could think about me whatever you want to think about me. Everyone has an opinion. They all fucking smell. You know the old adage, right? Yep. Anybody, you could call me a name, you could call me a racist, you could call me anything you want. I've been called worse by better. Fire away, baby. Let's go. I don't give a shit. So if anybody is going to be out there asking hard questions, and if anybody's going to be in the fire, if anybody's going to do it, I'm in the position where I could do it. I own a Mason company. I can't get silenced. I can't get canceled. I'm going to have 20, 30 people. I do 20, 30 jobs a year, right? Because I'm small. I'm going to have 20, 30 people that want my work. So I'm in a position where I can do something. And to me, if you're in a position where you can do something, you better be using your talents. I have a talent to speak, and I have a talent to ask questions, and I have a talent to parse bullshit. And, it's the motivation, like I said, is right there. I think I have a unique talent that can benefit people, and I think can make a difference. And it's already made a big difference in my town. Just the start of the Brick Breakdown, the day show I do, it's made such a big difference. You don't even realize it. I want to start one of these in every town across America.
And since you bring it up, we're really excited about the Caltrop show and then the media group following. Excited about that. Wanted to just jump, because everybody's wanting to know that. Let's throw that out there. But let's get into this a little bit. I really wanted to. You are personally going through something that, deserves national attention. And you're dealing with local, politicians, local attorneys, citizens. Can you talk to us? And for those of you that don't know, Mike has a great show called The Brick Breakdown. And because he lives in Brick City, you know what I mean? Like, dude, you're straight out of a movie, But anyway, of course he lives in Brick City, you know what I mean? So he lives in a town that he's actively involved in with the politics and things of that nature. And just kind of tell us about Brick City a little bit. Are you going to be continuing that one on specifically? Or are you going to kind of change it up a little bit?
No, that's
and then
going
we
on.
can get into what, where that's led us and where you're at right now with the situation you're in.
Yeah, so that's called the Brick Breakdown.
Brick Breakdown. Sorry, yeah.
So one of the things that it's cool. So one of the things that got me started with that was going to the planning board meetings. So one of the problems that we have going on all around my area, and I'm sure it's happening to somebody that's listening right now, is overdevelopment. And I live in New Jersey, so you have a new mandate from the state that's saying that you have to have certain amount of like affordable housing units, right? Mm-hmm. So what's happening specifically in my area, they're trying to put up a lot of buildings where they're asking for variances that do not go with the area. And it's already impossible to get out. Traffic is already crazy. It's a madhouse, right? So I started attending these meetings, and I started realizing that, man, this is a really corrupt process. It's like the lawyers that are presenting for the builders are all glad handing the fucking, everyone's in on it. And then they tried to pass this trailer ordinance, and I'm not going to get too crazy, but they tried to do it real backhanded. And I organized a bunch of people. I made one Facebook video. Like 90 people showed up to this town hall meeting, and they shelved everything.
When you say backhanded, what do you mean? Trailer ordinance? First of all, tell us about the ordinance because we don't, you know what I mean? When I think trailer, I think like truck trailer.
No, so when you like any enclosed trailer. So what they were trying to do is ban completely any enclosed trailers, ban a lot of landscaping trailers. They were trying to ban any vehicle that weighed over 10,000 gross vehicle weight from parking in brick driveways. So my dually truck is 13.5. I wouldn't be able to park my truck in my driveway. Oh my Things like that. And when I say backhanded, they have to post the dates for this stuff in the beginning of the year. So they posted the date for this hearing, but then they just set the hearing up, and they don't have to go out. They just post it like on their page that no one follows. But they don't have to say, "Hey, we're doing a hearing on this or doing a hearing on that." They just put this new ordinance up, didn't talk about it, and they were just going to pass it until everyone showed up. And then once everybody showed up, they said, "Oh, I know you guys are all here for the ordinance. Guess what? We're going to shelve that, and we're never going to talk about it again."
Wow.
But what they did was, The old ordinance banned trailers a little bit. It was just never enforced. So what they did was the next month they just had their zoning agents go out and start enforcing trailers on businesses. So that it was like 28 different businesses the first month. It was a bunch more the next month. So in consecutive months, you had this spike in trailer violations. So I said, you know what, dude, I can't take this anymore. I started the Brick Breakdown. And it's just funny because when I started this show, it was to ask people a lot of very hard questions. And nobody wanted it to be a part of it. I'd ask the council questions and they would sit there and go, thank you for your question. Next. They wouldn't answer you. It was unbelievable. So I started recording them. And then I got them to put it on Facebook. And then I started taking clips and putting the clips on Facebook and all the other socials. All of a sudden, I got attention because I was getting a couple thousand views per.
Yeah.
So now I'm putting your own words to where people could actually hear it. And guess what? You don't like it and they don't either. It was amazing. But then what starts happening is you start seeing things where you start getting singled out. And this one situation we had, once again, for the planning board, we went to this meeting on this big project. They're trying to jam it down our throats here. And the first planning board meeting we went to, they knew about my show now. It's been out. I've been hammering them now for a couple months. They said to us, hey, just so you guys know, there's no recording or taking pictures of this.
Of a public meeting.
So I didn't record. I didn't take any pictures, but I emailed the mayor and I said, can you tell me why my First Amendment rights were violated? And she came back to me and said, no, you could definitely record there. It was a misunderstanding by the lawyer. Oh, because the same room is used for court when it wasn't used for the other one. So it's just a misunderstanding. I'm like, okay, but
wow.
I've seen 15 different planning board meetings with this woman, and all of a sudden, it's just this one that she has a mistake on. Yeah, my ass. So then, and I could actually, I could probably pull up the video if you wanted to hear it, but I'll give you the breakdown on it. So come 3 meetings later, in my town's interesting because in any of these planning boards or stuff like that, you have a town like a question period from the public and then a thoughts period for the public where you could give your opinion on the project. So we had so many people show up to this meeting that we were asking questions. We filibustered this lawyer just like he did to us for 3.5 hours and made them push it back again to another meeting.
I love that.
But one of the women was really she's actually running for mayor of our town. Her name's Madeline Iannarone, right? She was questioning this lawyer, and what she got him to admit was, or what she got him to say was, that our population was decreasing because she said it was increasing. How do you justify this? So the lawyer's like, I believe this is exact words. He says, I believe the population of Brick is decreasing. It's going down. And then you heard an audible moan and groan in the audience. And then all of a sudden he goes, it is, look it up, Census Bureau. So I said, okay, right? So the good thing about Google is if it's not biased or anything like that, they're going to give you the clear skinny of it. They're gonna
the numbers at least. Yeah.
76,000 now, up from 73,000, still up from 75,000 in 2010. So what I tried doing is figuring out the most asshole way to ask a question just to get the guy backpedaling and falling on his ass. Right. So what he did a lot of the times when he was getting these questions asked was he'd use the phrase, not very likely, not likely, probably not. It was all generalities like that, but not very likely was his like go-to word. He had to say it 60 times.
Whoa.
Yeah, because this is how many questions we had coming at this guy.
Yeah.
So I get up there as soon as Madeline was done talking, I like ran up to the podium. I had my arm up and I was just fucking steaming ahead towards it. So because there's, like I said, there was still another 10 people that had to ask questions. So I look at this guy, I go, okay, my first question is for Mr. Jackson. Mr. Jackson, can you tell me what did I say? Can you tell me the likelihood of you being right about Brick's population? Is it A, I'm positive, B, very likely, C, likely, D, not very likely, or E, I'm completely wrong? And I just kind of stopped and looked at him. And everyone started laughing in the background. He just looks up to the judge like this and goes like this. Or not the judge, the chairman of the planning board. So the chairman of the planning board doesn't even make this guy answer a question. He looks at me and says, I don't see the relevance of your question. I say, well, the relevance is he's used likely and probably to make a lot of generalized statements here. So I'm asking him if he's positive or how likely it is that he made truthful statements here to the board and just lie to everybody. And dude, it was like a 4-second just silence. And I said, or are we just making statements that we don't know the answers to? I said, here, let me fact check. And I start reading them. And when I was done with that, I was going to look right at him and say, with those numbers, would you admit now that you made a false statement to the board? And then I was going to follow up with that. Well, if you made this false statement to the board, how do we know that any of your likelies that you made here today, that you've declared here today, are accurate? That's what I was going to say.
Yes. That's called nailing him to the wall in legal terms.
That's called nailing your ass to the wall. I have you dead to rights. Well, I start reading off the numbers. The chairman goes, excuse me, bang, 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 bangs the gavel at me, and then says this shit. He goes, when I say excuse me, that means you be quiet. Shush.
Wow.
I was like, did you just fucking he didn't shush my ass. Did he shush me? So I was like, no, that's not how this works. I could ask. This is my time to ask questions. So as soon as I said that, he goes, that's it. Get out of here. You're done.
Wow.
So I said, wait a second. You're telling me that this guy could lie to the board and you're getting rid of me? And then he had the police officer come by, this big 6'3" girl, right? She starts giving me the fingertip treatment. Like, just come on, back up, go, go, go. But still physically removed. She had to touch me because I wasn't moving. I wanted an answer. Make this guy answer my question. Now, why is he allowed to even present in front of the board anymore? He should be banned.
Correct.
He lied to you guys. He's made false statements under oath. Right? So this is the stuff that when you start asking questions, when you're going to notice, especially about your local politicians, they're dumb. They have no idea what they're doing. They have no idea what they're talking about. They have no idea how to answer questions. They're really not in control, just like it is everywhere else. This is it. You have to get involved locally because it's a microcosm of the macro, and you can actually take control locally. And the more people that start taking control locally, that's how you take control nationally. You do it by, it's a war of attrition, and they know this game. That's why in my area specifically, we have all Democrat leadership, but the area in New Jersey that went 76% for Donald Trump, the highest in the state, right? So it's
somehow it's all Democratic local,
but somehow we have an all Democrat board and a Democrat mayor.
Wow.
Right? And make that make sense for a second. So, I am but what I've noticed there, Mike, is one person, I made a big difference. You don't realize it. I made a giant difference. I made these people start backtracking. I made them start answering questions. I'm getting all of their stuff out to the people. I'm getting the people now talking about them. And just that is enough to get attention. One person. And what I'm trying to do is, especially in my town, if I get 5,000, if I get 10,000, nationally, we get 100,000 people, we get 1 million people that are all ripping towards the same exact direction, that want the same things. You are going to get noticed. We are going to get noticed. And I tell people at Brick all the time, I might not be the voice you want, but I'm the voice you need because no one else is doing it for you.
Not the hero you want, but the hero you deserve. You know what I'm saying?
I'm like fucking Hancock,
Yeah, no, and a couple things there, man. You said so much, but a couple of things just amazing and true. One, something you said in the beginning is that it not completely red, not completely blue. And when you get involved in local politics, for everybody out there listening, you understand a lot of that goes by the wayside. You know what I mean? You have Democrats and Republicans who have small businesses that need their trucks to be parked in their driveways. They can't afford fines and city fees just to own a truck or a trailer. That is something that is a nonpartisan issue. I always use the pothole reference, right? We can fight all day over Donald Trump or Joe Biden, but at the end of the day, who's fixing that pothole? Are your tax dollars going to fix that pothole that's blowing your tire out, that's costing you $400? You know what I mean? That you have to drive on to get to work. That's not the president's job. But do you even know whose job that is in your town that you would talk to? Most people don't.
For us, it's public works, but no, most people don't. Most people don't know what's going on.
Exactly. And at least most people know to go to the mayor, maybe, but they don't even know the name of the mayor in their own town. So that's why what you're doing is so important. And what you've shown is a little bit of accountability goes a long way, man. Just holding them account just because nobody ever does. That's the thing that is mind blowing, right? Is just putting a little bit of pressure on them. And they lose they can't handle it because they're not equipped, right?
What they're not see these people, especially my council, the council in Brick, they're given a piece of paper to read to us. They
Right.
read it. That's what they do. There you go. Get your stipend and go get your free health care and your pension for the rest of your life or whatever the hell these people get. Right. It's really disgusting when you look at it. And what you said earlier, it's something that I say a lot. There's no right or left. People don't realize this dumb shit. I played baseball, for example. On my baseball team, you had people on the far right, and you had people on the far left. But if there was 10 things that we all liked, 9 out of the 10 things we could have in common. Like, so, some of the things on my baseball team, we all love baseball. We love beer. We love chicks, right? We love tits. We love ass. Like, keep going down to love hot dogs, 100 different things that we love. But there's one thing out there, politics, that they say, no, you're either on the right or the left. But no one's truly on the right or the left. When you do what I do, and you try to bring in people of all different makes and models, there's always this middle ground of everything. So take whatever issue you want. You take abortion, for example. There's
Right.
some people, yes, that are hardcore, no, like absolutely no abortion whatsoever. And then there's some like just kill kids up to 17, right? I don't give a shit, right? You're gonna have those maniacs, but 90% of the people are right in here. And then when you get down to when you get really down to it, it's going to come down to what week are you cool with? Are you cool at 6 weeks? Are you cool at 12 weeks? Are you cool at 24 weeks? That's where the argument is. The argument is over weeks. It's not yes or no anymore. It's okay. Everyone really agrees right in here. Once again, we've had the conversation on your other show with Protocol, where it was like, I deny the black and white thing because my shirt is white, but I'm also deemed white and I'm not even close to it. Right.
No,
and
we
this
don't
is like
claim
an
you. You're
off-white.
Italian. We don't claim you.
But Italians were gifted
I'm
whiteness.
kidding.
But you get what I'm saying, right? It's the polar opposite stuff. And
Right.
it's you come from one completely different side or the other, and they force you to these sides. And everybody's here. Like you look at the regular so-called black person, regular so-called white person, we're exactly the same people. We're fighting against these same exact people. The same exact things are happening to us. But the people that are doing it to us have convinced other people like us that it's not happening to anybody else but them. You feel what I'm saying? And they have everybody in this tizzy that we're so far apart when we're not. And I don't think America has ever been actually closer to being a solitary mass or like a big mass that's waking up to what's happening to it. And I think Trump is that guy.
Well, and to give you an example, working locally, so Trump came out with and now I believe it's a $2,000. Originally, he was saying $5,000, but it's a $2,000 baby credit, and it's simply this: if you have a child, you can claim that child on your tax returns for a $2,000 tax credit. Just that simple. Just hey, costs a lot of money to have a baby. You know what I mean? A lot of folks usually, cost a little bit of time off in work to have that baby. Here's a couple G's. It's not going to change your life, but at least it, will buy, a couple weeks worth of diapers.
Yeah,
whatever the case.
I hate it.
Okay,
look, if you want to take that $2,000,
wait, let me finish. Let me finish.
Sorry.
Wait. Let me finish. That's not up for debate. That's not what I'm talking about, man.
Sorry.
Plus, I don't have much time. I got like maybe 10 more minutes with you.
No,
so
you got.
let's not get into that one. Point is, my point I'm trying to make is, and actually on a local level, we were working on that to do a $2,000 or $1,000 credit as well. The idea there is to deter abortion, straight up, to deter abortion, and to also hopefully be able to help some poor people with their kids. It's just it's not rocket science, dude. It's real. To me, it was the most simple thing I could get on board with and get behind, is that young kids that are poor need a little extra money, and versus giving it to a crackhead working the system. or an illegal immigrant working the system. Give it to actual people having a child. And instead of the welfare system set up to incentivize single motherhood, give it to a family. You know what I mean? However, regardless of that, the whole point was, and I thought, okay, this is an easy one. I can get on board with this. This is so non-confrontational. Everybody will 90% of everyone will be on board with it. Racist. Came out on The View and said, oh, okay, well, because of declining birth rates, Donald Trump wants to give this money. And a black woman, now black people have the most declining birth rates. Like of all the groups, Asian, Native American, Latino, white, black, you know what I mean? In America,
with the highest abortion rate.
Yeah, and by far the least amount of people they're procreating. So you would think they would be the most on board. And then the Sonny Hostin on The View comes out and says, well, Asians and Latinos had a 1% increase. So we're not saying nothing, but it's white people. And it was like, but black people, this benefits white people, black people, this benefits everyone. This literally is a non-racial benefit. And here's the problem. They brainwash folks so hardcore into thinking if something is good for everyone, it's racist. Unless this bill is specifically meant for you. This bill specifically meant to help specific black people going through this specific problem, or this gender-confused person with this specific problem. It's sexist or racist or evil. And that's how far we've gotten. Long story short, that's why it's so important to have a show like yours, man. You get me worked up, and I love it, dog.
I love it, bro.
But yeah, man. You know what I'm saying? I know you're against the other thing. I don't want to get. We'll debate.
I'm not against it.
But
I'm not like against it. I just like what you said, right? Just a couple what you said. But my point was going to be, why don't we give some of these kids $2,000, like a Social Security starter fund?
I love that.
So for every baby, how about this? We give them $2,000 and then invest that money for them somehow. Give some investment account where it's going to grow for 5% or whatever it is over the course of 18 years. Then you get out and you have a kid that has a couple $1,000 at 18 that may be able to start a business, that might be able to do something, right? To where they don't have absolutely nothing. Now, what's going to happen? You're going to watch humanity. You're going to watch certain people still blow that money and become poor. And you're going to be certain people that take all that money. That's just basic humanity. But to me, if you wanted to help people, genuinely help people, you help them like that.
Yeah.
Because there are people that need that help.
Yeah.
There are. And then you know what? If your family does make how much money, over $250,000, you don't get the $2,000. You don't need it. You already have your jump. Right. So there's very easy ways to solve these problems. But like you said, they'd rather turn the issue and obfuscate whatever it is of the issue to turn it into these racial things, because they know that's an emotional topic.
Well,
get someone emotional, and that's what happens.
I literally never, if you told me 10 years ago, right? There's the ongoing joke of right before Trump came down the escalator the first time, right? Right before that happened, right? 2012. Somebody thought the world was going to end. They went into that bunker because of the 2012 Mayan thing, right? If somebody went into a bunker in 2012 and they just came out this week, they would think they were living in like a cartoon, right? Like it's like, you remember Donald Trump, the guy with the TV show, the East Coast blowhard? Really? Yeah, he's on his second term as president. Oh, really? Yeah,
Biden was president.
Yeah, and in between, but wait, on his second, but there wasn't. And wait, and you remember Elon Musk? The electric car guy? Yeah, he owns Twitter now. What? And everybody hates him. What? Why?
Everybody on the left suddenly hates him. You know, he was saving the planet 2 years ago, and now he's the devil.
Yeah.
You know, it's really cool how he goes from hero to devil to Hitler. You know, back to the devil. I don't know what he is yet. Is he Hitler or the devil now? Who knows?
And not only that, but trying to give people money for having children is racist now. And so are streets. The streets are racist. Giving people money is racist. And
everything's racist. Haven't you noticed every single thing on this planet is racist? It's the boy who called wolf at this planet. At this point, it's like if everything is my fault, I never owned a damn slave in my life. None of my family have. We came here on a boat. You know, my grandparents came here on a boat. We didn't own no slaves. Matter of fact, some of my family were the indentured servants, like way back in the day, I'm sure. You know, along with the Irish, and they're basically slaves. You know what the funny part about the word slave is? It comes from the Latin word Slav, which was for the Slavic people that are little white dudes.
Yes.
If anybody's white, it's them. So the word slave came from white people. That's the craziest part about it.
And speaking
Yeah.
of slaves, you are a slave to the game. We're going to get you out of here,
I
man.
am.
I just want to spend just a second letting the people know this is so great, man. I knew this flew by. Wow, this flew by. I love
Dude, it flew
working
by.
with
You want to do a couple more? You have a couple more questions? Fire away. I got a little more time, dude. I told you, I'm with you, bro.
Yeah, well, I just, man, me and you, I could talk to you for 3 hours every day.
Yeah.
We just have stuff. So, yeah, well, and on that, I just think that it's one of those, if everything is racist, nothing is racist, right? If everything is freaking racist, then nothing is racist. And I gotta say, in my opinion, the most racist people in America right now are not your everyday average middle class white or black folks. That's not who's the most racist. It's your internet crazies on both sides. And I'm talking black, white, and brown, and you know what I mean?
It's every one
But,
of your leftist politicians. That's who the most
yes.
racist. I could put them. The most racist people on the planet are liberal white women. I will say it. I don't
I
care
agree.
because it's the truth. I mean,
They
it's the
will
damn
tell
truth.
you, yes. They will tell you your I remember I had one on my Instagram, and when the Trump shoes came out, she literally posted, "These nasty shoes belong hanging from a wire in the ghetto." And I'm like, really? So you look at that, you look at people who live in the ghetto, and you look at that as the most disgusting thing?
You know what I
How
love?
dare you?
Mike, do you know what I love? I love the argument where they're like, black people can't get IDs. There's no way. They have no way to get IDs. And it's like, hold on one second. You're telling me that in your mind, black people are so stupid that they can't possibly get an ID or know where the DMV is or can't possibly get to the DMV?
I'd be
It's
pissed. if I was
it's
black.
it's unbelievable. Then you had that one politician that's like, well, there's these things called computers and black people don't know how to use them. And I love the one guy who was like on, because the internet is so good at killing people, but you had that one politician. So he played that line. And then you had this black guy with a laptop on the ground that was playing like a chimpanzee or gorilla. And he was just like this, just smacking the computer. It's so good, bro. They just rub it in these idiots' faces for how stupid they are.
And speaking of that, this is a little timely for, when we're live, but because it just happened this week, for this time in history, if you're watching this a year from now or whatever. But how brilliant of Trump was it to bring those South African migrants in and have all of these people protesting and screaming for illegal migration, now mad at migrants. Literally, you have leftists threatening their lives. We don't want you here. You're not safe here. And I'm like, how brilliant was it to show what lying hypocrites they were all of those years? They don't care about migrants. They don't care about refugees. They care about winning and creating a new slave class to pick their crops for them. Which is crazy, but oh my gosh, dude. How brilliant was it?
It's very brilliant, especially the people behind Trump this time around. They know that they're so on tilt. They have such Trump derangement syndrome, all of them, that they're taking such crazy positions. Like you heard Trump come out and be like, yeah, I wouldn't mind a millionaire's tax all of a sudden, right?
Yeah.
And it's like you have the left like, no, you can't have a millionaire's tax. You can't do that. And they're now all of a sudden, he's got the left with these tariffs now defending foreign billionaires.
Yes.
They hate American billionaires, but they're gonna be all for the Chinese billionaire or the Indian billionaire. It's like, wait a second, do you guys have any idea? So somehow Trump turned the regular average liberal into the biggest big pharma salesman and supporter you've ever seen in your life. These are the people that hated big pharma.
Supporting war.
Yeah, now they love war. They love bombing the shit out of people. And they claim that they have the right to kill what's in their body, but you don't have a right to reject a vaccine being put in you. No. Right? It's so what he's doing, it's trolling on its highest level, the absolute highest level.
Yes,
brilliant. It's brilliant.
Okay, you have you want more refugees? Well, let me bring some in. Not those refugees.
Not those.
I'm too busy burning a Tesla for the environment. I'm too busy destroying an electric car battery that for 50 years leaves shit in the environment to protest. Like, stop it.
And it's only white people. Right? They're mad because he brought in white refugees. Exactly. This one guy on my page is like, why are they only white refugees? I go, hold on one second. Out of the last 10 years, how many white refugees have we taken in? Like 12? It's like there's got to be millions of people of color refugees, but
15 to 20 million in the last 4 years estimated by all.
And how many are not minorities if they were to be classified that way?
Trump brought
you think
in
they're
49.
all white people?
15 to 20 million, no problem. Rapists, murderers, no problem.
Yeah, no problem.
49 white people, oh, big problems.
Oh, there you go. It's like, that's it. White people, more white people. That's the last thing we need. These fucking evil whites.
They might say a word and I can't handle it. I got to thank Kanye West, man. He made the best song. You just play that song and you know what I mean?
Know what I'm definitely going to be coming back with is some of my whitey how-tos. So with Caldarise Unleashed, we used to call it the Whitey's how-to.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna get like glasses and I'm gonna make Whitey videos. But Whitey was like, "Hello, this is Whitey, and here's not to get killed by cops. Ready? Obey the law." Just stupid shit. You don't want to get killed? Don't fight with cops on the street.
Here's an idea: pay for your items. Don't use fake $20 bills.
Yes. How about don't pull a gun? It's like that same thing that Dave Chappelle did. That was so great.
Yes, exactly. If you choose to swallow a bag of fentanyl, don't also use a counterfeit $20 bill in the same day. Sorry. Anyway, all right. So
make sure you say can't breathe. Can't breathe. Sorry.
You better kill me. I'm gonna be another rapper dead for popping off at the mouth with shit I shouldn't have said.
You got one in. I love it. Okay. So talk to us about your schedule. People are missing the Caldarise. We're used to being able to tune in 3 times a week and see you. What I love about podcasts is, regardless of when you do go live, we were able to always, for me, a lot of times I'm not able to tune in till like 10 o'clock at night, but I could watch your show. You know what I mean? And we miss the Caldarise. We miss your hot takes. So when are you coming back? When can we expect to see you?
I appreciate you guys, like everybody that has supported me through this entire thing. I am working my rear off to make a Monday return, and I will be assuming the exact same time slot. I'm going to be competing directly with everybody in that slot, and I'm going to, in my mind, I'm going to destroy everybody that's in that slot. It's just that it's how I think. Excuse me, Mike, but I really think I'm good at this stuff.
Yeah. I've heard.
Yeah, I'm a cocky son of a bitch, and it's the truth, man. Because the bottom line is you don't do something like this if you don't have confidence in yourself. And if you're going to do anything in life, I'm a baseball player, right? So no matter what I do, I'm going in and I'm thinking I can do it. I don't care what it is. I know I could do it. I'm smart enough to figure it out. I have belief in myself, no matter what it is. So yeah, dude, I'm planning on Monday, this upcoming Monday, going live. It's going to be 7 o'clock. It's going to be fun. It's the Caltrop. This is the Caltrop. I am going to be your defense weapon from fake bullshit. I'm telling you, it's going to be great. It's going to be fun.
I love it, man. And wow, I love it. Let's just yes, live Monday, 7 p.m. on your Rumbles, on your Facebook, the Caltrop, starring Mr. Mike Caldarise. Dude, I'm pumped. This is going to be awesome. I'll at least be in the chat. I'll be begging you to come on your show.
Oh no, you're going to be on the show. I want you to have a regular spot on the show. That's part of what it is. If you're part of the family, I want you there. I want to have you. If there's a story that you want to speak about, I want you coming on, analyzing it with us, giving your opinion. One thing it's not going to be, Mike, it's not going to be no damn echo chamber. No. I'm going to challenge people to think. I'm going to challenge them to think philosophically in a lot of ways. I'm a very philosophical thinker. It means you are going to be thinking, and if you're not ready to think, if you just want to be a blind rabbit that's just watching the same thing on repeat all day, you're not going to like the show. But if you're going to like if you want to see a variety show where you're going to be challenged to think about and understand why you feel a certain way for something, then you're going to want to check it out. And yeah, dude, I want you and I want everybody in our family to be very regular members of this show, because the only way it can build is together. That's the bottom line. That's the truth.
Well, and that's, if I may, just personal opinion here, man, that was the secret. That was the engine. That was what made that former car that you just got out of, now that you're getting a newer, shinier, faster model. But that was what made that car run, was your love, man. Think about it like this. One of the famous sayings in marketing is people don't buy the what, they buy the why. You know what I mean? People don't buy a podcast. Why? Why are you doing a podcast? Because you love it. You're dedicated to truth. You want to bring people in, and you created a community that is, we're excited. The whole community, we're excited about it. But you created the community while others may have been off trying to just increase their own personal stock to the point of, you know what I'm saying? Their behavior proved it at the end.
I'd say we created this community because it doesn't happen without we. I appreciate the self-accolades. I may have started it. I may have helped start it, but, it really is us, bro. It's us. That's the thing I'm learning, and I learned from sports. I have to do my part, right? But it's us. It really is. And that's the reason why I do it, bro, just because of us.
Hell yeah, man. I call you the working man's Joe Rogan. You know what I'm saying? You're like Joe Rogan without the millions of dollars.
Yeah, with the hair. And with hair. I'll take it.
Just fire on a podcast. You know what I mean? I don't know if have you ever tried stand-up? You ever done stand-up?
I've never tried it. I think I could put together a set, and I think I have comedic timing.
It's on,
I think I have some jokes, that I could put together, but no, dude, I've never done stand-up, and I don't know if I wouldn't be able to travel, but I would do some local stuff. I wouldn't mind trying it. I think it would be fun.
Man, one night we're going to do, because, I know so many damn stand-ups. We're going to do an online stand-up show. So, like, the background will look like a comedy club, and I'm going to come on and I'm going to do my little set to the camera. So, man, maybe think about doing like a 3 to 5 minute. Everybody will do like a 3 to 5 minute run one night. We're just going to do a Saturday night for fun. So if you want to do that, let me know because you're on. So
you just have to help me write some jokes. I have no idea how to write jokes. I'm better like on just ripping off the top of the dome.
That's the thing. You're naturally, you wouldn't really, all you have to do is come up with like 3 topics and go, this freaking guy, you know what I mean? And you'd be hilarious.
You know what it is? I have to start writing stuff down when I'm just bullshitting with people because like funny things just pop into my head when I'm just bullshitting. And then I'm like, that would be funny if I was to write it down and do stand up, and I never write it down. So what are you going to do?
That's the thing. What are you going to do? Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much, Mr. Mike Caldarise, sir. Let me just
thank you very much, Mike.
Bro, I am so excited. Monday, 7 p.m., Caltrop. We will be watching. We will be in the building. We will be in the chat. Guys, this has been the PT Pod featuring Mr. Mike Caldarise. Thank you so much for tuning in. We will see you next week. Bye-bye.
Later.